Students, I had given you 5 questions in laws of motion sums for homework, question 1 to 5. So now I'm just discussing, I had discussed question 3 and I had told you that it is identical to a classwork sum which you had to refer. So now I'm discussing with you another homework sum in which I know that there could be queries and there would be doubts. That is question number 4 on page 78. You are given in question number 4 that a bullet of mass 5 grams traveling at 150 meter per second penetrates a fixed target for 0.1 second. After that, what happens is not given and it need not be given. What will happen to the bullet? It will come to rest. Obviously, the bullet won't go on forever. Once it has lost all its kinetic energy, it will come to rest. So the bullet moves in a target for so much time, 0.1 second, and then it comes to rest. That is assumed, it is understood. So the mass of the bullet, since it is given in gram, needs to be converted to kg. So you have to divide 5 by 1000 and write it in kg. That is the first most important thing, and that is a thing in which few students will make mistakes because they don't convert how many ever times you are told to do it. Then you are given initial velocity. The bullet was moving at 150 meter per second. So that was the initial velocity of the bullet. So that is clear that the initial velocity is 150 meter per second. Then I told you that the bullet finally comes to rest. V stands for final velocity. So V is 0. Because the bullet will finally come to rest. So V is 0. And then time in which all this happened, the bullet struck the target, then it went inside and came to halt in 0.1 second. So the time in which all this happened is 0.1 second. So first thing, to find force, you know force ka formula is m into a, so you can find acceleration. So acceleration is V 0 minus u, that is minus 150, upon time 0.1 second. So it is minus 1500 upon 1. A is equal to minus 1500 meter per second squared. So negative sign indicates retardation, that is the velocity of the bullet is decreasing, and you know that. Initially the velocity of the bullet was 150 meter per second and finally it came to rest. So the force that is applied by the target is a retarding force or a force which causes decrease in velocity. Whenever the velocity decreases, you will get a negative answer, that is the force is causing retardation. And in this case, the acceleration is minus, means it is retardation. The velocity is decreasing. So then by Newton's second law, you use the formula, substitute F is equal to ma. Again, m is 5 by 1000 because it should be in kg. Acceleration is in meter per second squared. So then when you multiply, you get the answer as minus 7.5 kg into meter per second squared is Newton. So it is minus 7.5 Newton. Again, it is written and explained why, what negative sign indicates. It indicates it's a force which causes retardation. Now the second part of the question asks you, in this case, the second part asks you what is the distance of penetration of the target. So means how much the bullet has gone inside the target. Now unfortunately that is in chapter 2 and I have not taught you chapter 2. So I will take that up when I teach you the 3 equations of motion. So it is just a substitution of what you have found and then finding the distance of penetration. So that I will take up when I do chapter 2. Question 5 is also very similar to this, the solution for that. Again in question 5 it is given that a cricket ball of mass 100 gram, so you have to convert 100 gram to kg, strikes the hand of a player with a velocity of 20 meter per second. So u is 20 meter per second, that is the initial velocity. and is brought to rest in 0.01 second. So the time taken to bring it to rest is 0.01 second. The final velocity is 0. It is given that the bullet is brought to rest. The final velocity is 0. So again 0 minus 20 v minus u upon 0.01, that will give you the acceleration. So you get a negative value. Negative sign indicates that the speed of the ball is decreasing, or A is actually retardation. Negative acceleration indicates retardation. Then force is MA. M should be in kg. So 100 upon 1000 gram is converted to kg. And A is minus 2000. So when you do the calculations, the answer is minus 200 Newton. Then you can explain after that, negative sign for force indicates that the force causes retardation or decrease in speed. So you can copy down these two sums. This is the explanation of the two homework sums, which I felt that you will have some difficulty because this was not given, so you have to assume that. Okay? Yeah, so now question 7. In question 7, you are given that the car of mass 1000 kg is moving with a speed of 15 meter per second, is brought to rest by a constant force of 2500 Newton. Find the change in momentum of the car produced by this force. So we have to find not just the force but the change in momentum also. So first you are given mass, initial velocity is 15 and then final velocity is 0. So force is 2500 Newton, but then be careful. This force is reducing the speed from 15 meter per second to 0 meter per second. So therefore you have to, when you do the sum, use negative sign for the force. That is important. If you don't use negative sign for the force, then you will lose marks, because you will get the final answer of time in negative value, and time cannot be negative. So since this force is reducing the speed from 15 to 0, it has to be given a negative sign when you use it. So you are finding the acceleration as minus 2.5 meter per second squared. So you got the acceleration as minus 2.5 meter per second squared, and you are asked to find how much time it takes to bring it. So acceleration, use the negative sign and use the formula acceleration is v minus u upon t. So you will get it as v minus u upon t is 0 minus 15 upon t. So you will get the answer as 6 seconds. At 6 seconds you are getting a positive answer because you have got a negative answer for acceleration since you took force as negative. And why you took force as negative? Because the velocity is changing. So that's what I have written there, that the negative sign, if you don't take it, then the time answer will be negative, and that is wrong. So you are also asked to find in this question change in momentum of the car produced by the force. So now you have, what is the change in momentum of the car? So change in momentum of car, I will show it to you here. That change in momentum, what is the formula? Are you asked change in momentum or rate of change of momentum? You are asked only change in momentum. So change in momentum, how do you denote it? Delta T is mv minus mu. So it is final momentum minus initial momentum. So you can write delta P is mv minus u. So what is the mass of the car? 1000 kg. And v minus u, v is 0 and u is 15. So again you will get a negative answer. You will get minus 15,000. You can write kg meter per second, or instead of writing kg meter per second, you can write the answer as Newton second. I have explained that kg meter per second and Newton second are both the same. So that is change in momentum of the car. And remember, negative sign of force has to be taken, otherwise you will get negative answer for time, which is not correct. So now the eighth sum. So the eighth sum is based on that figure which is given there. So the figure shows a velocity time graph. Now this again, velocity time graph, acceleration time graph, displacement time graph, all this is in chapter 2. But it is something very simple to do and it doesn't require a lot of explanation of chapter 2. So basically you can see as the time is increasing from 0 to 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 and 25 seconds, this figure, same figure is there in your textbook on page 75 in the classwork sums. So as the time is increasing, initially the velocity of the body was increasing from 0 up to 20 and it became 20 meter per second at 15 seconds. At 15 seconds the velocity became 20 meter per second. And after that the bus is moving at a constant speed for the next 10 seconds. So from 15 to 25 seconds the bus velocity is not changing, it is remaining 20 meter per second. So please understand that diagram. It is just showing you that the bus of mass 3000 kg started from rest and reached 20 meter per second speed in 15 seconds, and after that it is moving at a constant speed of 20 meter per second for the next 10 seconds. After 25 seconds, what happened? It is not given in the graph. So maybe that bus was at a bus stop, it started moving, and when it starts moving it gained some speed, and after 15 seconds it gained a good speed, it was moving at 20 meter per second, and then after that for the next 10 seconds it was moving at a same speed of 20 meter per second. So from this graph, already the mass is given, otherwise it is given 3000 kg. Initial velocity was 0 because the bus started from rest. And final velocity is 20 meter per second and that took 15 seconds to achieve. So your first question asked is the change in momentum of the car produced by the force. So you are asked the first question, the time range over which the bus undergoes a constant non-zero acceleration. Give the time range only, they have not asked you to find the acceleration. They have asked you to find the time range when the bus is undergoing non-zero acceleration. Non-zero acceleration means the bus is undergoing change in speed. There is a change in speed or velocity of the bus. And that is happening in this course from 0 to 20, 0 to 20 meter per second, there is a change in velocity, and that was happening in 15 seconds. So in 15 seconds there was a change in velocity from 0 to 20 meter per second. So that was the first answer. 0 to 15 seconds the velocity changes from 0 to 20 meter per second. So acceleration is non-zero. Acceleration is non-zero means there has to be change in velocity. Now next question asks this. Find the magnitude of force acting on the bus during the time interval 0 to 15 seconds and then 15 to 25 seconds. So 0 to 15 seconds, the acceleration which is acting, acceleration you will find out the force, that is m into a. Find the magnitude of force. So force is to be found. Force is m into a, mass of the bus was 3000 kg, and acceleration formula is v minus u upon t. So v is 20, u is 0, and time in which 0 to 20 happened is 15 seconds. So when you calculate 4 by 3, so it will become force is 4000 Newton. In this case the force is positive because velocity is increasing with time. It is not decreasing like in the case of the bullet where the speed was decreasing. So force is 4000 Newton That is the second part ka first answer. And then they asked you from 15 seconds to 25 seconds, what is the force acting on the bus? Again, force is mass into acceleration. And the same formula, mass into V minus U upon T. But 15 to 25 seconds, you will find that there is no change in velocity. It was 20 here at 15 seconds and it is 20 here at 25 seconds. So V minus U will be 20 minus 20 and difference in time will be 25 minus 15. So it will be numerator becomes 0. 20 minus 20 becomes 0. So that means force is 0. It also verifies Newton's laws. That is, if there is no force, there will be no acceleration. In this case, the reverse. Since there is no acceleration, the body will not be experiencing any force. No increase or no accelerator is put on the bus, and there is no force of friction acting on the bus. That is hypothetical. But there is no force, net force acting on the bus during that 15 to 25 seconds is 0. So, second part of the second answer, 15 to 25 seconds, force is 0. Now there is a third part to that I will solve next with the next one. So the third part of the 8th question was to find what is the momentum of the bus at 25 seconds after the start of motion. So at 25 seconds after the start, you have to first see what is the velocity of the bus. It is moving with a velocity of 20 meter per second. So momentum will be mass into velocity. So 3000 kg into 20 meter per second, the velocity at 25 seconds. So 60,000 kg meter per second, that is the momentum of the bus. So this is the third part. They have not asked you change in momentum, rate of change of momentum, nothing. They have just asked you to find momentum at 25 seconds. Momentum is affected by mass and velocity. So velocity at 25 seconds is 20 meter per second. So that is what you have to take. Now question 9 is also based on a graph. The second one part of the question, that is the distance, the first part we can't do because I have not taught you chapter 2. So I will explain how to find the acceleration. That is simple. So from the graph, x-axis is time in seconds, 0 to 5 seconds, and y-axis is showing the speed. We will consider this as velocity. We will not take the exact definition of speed and velocity and go by it, but we will consider that initially it was 0 at 0 seconds, and at time is equal to 5 seconds, the velocity became 20 meter per second. So acceleration is v minus u upon t. So at 0 seconds, velocity is also 0, the body is starting from here. And at 5 seconds, the body has undergone a change in velocity, and therefore the velocity at 5 seconds is 20 meter per second. So acceleration is v minus u, 20 minus 0 upon 5, that is 4 meter per second squared. So that's how you find the acceleration. Distance we will do when we do the graphs in chapter 2. So now the last part, that is, after that there are more sums, I know, but that is based on the last part of the chapter. So now we will see what is gravitation and what is force of gravitation, and then after that we will do those sums which are remaining, which are based on gravitation. So here I have shown you two objects, one and second object. The two objects are placed at a distance of separation of r. R will be in meter, centimeter, whatever. The distance of separation of the two objects is r, and m1 is the mass of the first object and m2 is the mass of the second object. So Newton stated that whenever two objects are there besides each other anywhere at a distance of separation r, both of them will exert an attraction force on the other object. So this is not force 12. It is force exerted on the first body by the second body. So the second body is pulling the first body, and this is not force 21. This is force exerted on the second body by the first body, and it is force of attraction. This body is attracting that body towards it, and the second body is attracting the first body towards it. So there exists a force of attraction, and he said that this force of attraction is directly proportional to the product of their masses. So he said that force of attraction, which, because this and this are equal forces, body 1 attracts body 2 and body 2 attracts body 1, they are equal forces. So he wrote it as F, just force, not 1, 2 or 2, 1. So that force of attraction is directly proportional to the product of masses, and that force of attraction is inversely proportional to the distance. So obviously if the distance is more, the force will be less. So inversely proportional to the distance. So these two equations combined together gave you force proportional to m1 m2 upon r squared. Now when I had taught you in the previous chapter the equation of Newton's second law, in this chapter second part, F is equal to ma, I had explained to you about constant of proportionality. That if you want to change this proportionality sign and make an equal to sign, then you have to use a constant of proportionality. In Newton's second law, I told you that the constant of proportionality was k. So first you wrote the equation as F is equal to k into ma. And then after that you wrote k is 1. Scientifically, it was seen that the definition is force is made in such a manner that the value of the constant of proportionality is 1. At that time I had explained to you that even in simple pendulum you had used the constant of proportionality. In that case the constant of proportionality was 2 into pi. That was the constant of proportionality. And in kinetic energy you had used the constant of proportionality as half. Kinetic energy is half mv squared, so you had used the half as the constant of proportionality. Here we are using g. Now what is the value of g? I will give you as we proceed in this chapter. But g is the constant of proportionality, which is also known as gravitational constant. So when you use that g, the proportionality sign can be replaced by equal to sign. So it becomes F is equal to, then here you will put g into m1 m2 upon r squared. So that is the basic thing that he said about gravitation. This is applicable to every body, like the earth and the moon. There is a force of attraction between the earth and the moon, otherwise they would have just drifted away. They don't remain at a constant space or a constant distance. So now that this could be the earth and that could be the moon. So both of them are applying equal and opposite forces on each other. And if you substitute mass of earth, mass of moon, gravitational constant value and the distance between the earth and the moon, you will get what is the force of attraction that exists between the earth and the moon. He found that for small objects like your pencil box and your mobile phone, which may be placed besides each other, that force is very small or insignificant. But in case of heavenly bodies means sun and stars and planets, that force is pretty significant. So we will see then after this what is the definition of Newton's law of gravitation and more about it. So now, based on that formula itself, which I just gave you, F is equal to g into m into m1 into m2 upon r squared, you have the definition or define Newton's law of gravitation. Newton's law of gravitation states that the force of attraction, so first of all it's only attraction. The force of attraction acting between two bodies is, number one, directly proportional to the product of their masses, and number two, inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So this is what you have to write along with this mathematical expression if they ask you to define Newton's law of gravitation. It is not called Newton's fourth law. It is just called Newton's law of gravitation. F is equal to g into small m. The small m stands for smaller mass. Capital M stands for the second body which may have bigger mass. And r is the distance of separation between the two bodies. So it is r squared. F is equal to g into small m into capital M upon r squared. Unit and value of universal gravitational constant capital G. Capital G, when you use the same formula, we are first going to find the unit of G. So you just interchange the formula and take r squared on top and small m upon into capital M down. So you can write this as f into r squared upon small m into capital M as G. So now we substitute the SI unit of each of them. You know the SI unit of force is Newton. Distance, R is distance. So distance of separation, the unit will be meter, so meter squared. And kg into kg is kg squared. So it is Newton meter squared upon kg squared. So Newton meter squared upon kg squared can be written as kg raised to minus 2. Experimentally, the value of G is found to be 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared upon kg squared. So this is found experimentally. I told you that where did you get the 2 pi from in the simple pendulum? That all is derived experimentally. Where did you get k is equal to 1 in Newton's second law of motion? Scientists have performed lots of experiments with mathematicians and they have used different values to see where all the values are giving you the correct result. So G's value was found to be 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared by kg squared. Now you may ask me whether I should remember these values. Yes, you need to remember this value. So that's why I have written and underlined this. G's value is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared upon kg squared. This part can be asked as a 2-mark question. First to write the unit of G and then to write the value of G. So that can be asked. Now next you have the definition of gravitational constant. So once you have seen what is gravitational constant, its formula, and then you saw its unit and value, next we have to define the gravitational constant G. Now F is equal to G into m upon r squared. So that is m is one small, let's say you are using capital M and small m are both two bodies of mass 1 kg each. And let's say that the distance of separation between the two bodies is 1 meter. That is how usually your definitions are arrived at. So then you can say that F is equal to G because this is 1 into 1 upon 1. So all those values are 1. So then you can say force is equal to gravitational constant. So that is how you define gravitational constant. Gravitational constant is numerically equal to the magnitude of force of attraction between two bodies of mass 1 kg each placed at a distance of separation of 1 meter. The definition of gravitational constant can also be asked. So how do you define it? The gravitational constant capital G is numerically equal to the value of force of attraction between two bodies having mass 1 kg each and if they are separated by a distance of 1 meter. So the definition of gravitational constant is also important. Now we will see ahead and look where all this is used. Now what is the importance of this law of gravitation that Newton proposed? Newton's law of gravitation explains few things. The motion of the planets around the sun. So they are all moving at a constant speed and at a constant distance around the sun. That is explained by Newton's law of gravitation. If there was no force of attraction holding those two bodies together, they would have just drifted away. Same way, the motion of the moon or satellites around the earth. When I mean satellites, there are so many artificial satellites. which are rotating in an orbit taking space photos of different positions of the earth, and that is sent for us for agricultural, climate and all those, and for even army purposes. So all that, those satellites are but artificial satellites, but some planets have got more than one satellite. The moon is the Earth's satellite, natural satellite, but there are planets with many satellites. Then motion of freely falling bodies. You take a coin and toss it up, the coin doesn't go away. It comes down because there is some force of attraction exerted on the coin by the earth. So there is a force of attraction. And the phenomenon of tides. Why do you have high tides and low tides? Due to different positions of the earth during the day and night and during the month. All that is explained by Newton's law of gravitation. Why in any waterfall the water falls? Why doesn't it hold still somewhere? All that is because of Newton's law of gravitation. Now, based on the mathematical expression of Newton's law of gravitation, a very important question that is asked, and what you are supposed to answer, that I will also explain. The distance of separation between two bodies is doubled, first case, and second case halved. In both cases, show what will be the effect of the gravitational force of attraction between the two bodies. And second question is this force an attractive or a repulsive force? Now you know that the force of attraction between two bodies is equal to G into m upon r squared. Small m into capital M upon r squared. So here we are not concerned about G, which is a fixed value, 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared upon kg squared. That is the value of G. And also we are not considering m and capital M because they are constant. Here what is changing is the distance of separation between the two bodies. So you know that if the distance of separation increases, then the force will decrease. And if the distance of separation decreases, then the force will increase. But you can't write increase and decrease alone in your answer, you won't get any marks. If these are both for 1 mark each, then you are expected to write a specific word. After writing this, you will have to say, first case, if the distance of separation is doubled. So the denominator is doubled. So first of all, you have to think and say, when the distance is doubled, the force will decrease. Decrease and it will become what? It will become 1/4 its original value. Why? Because 2 will get squared, it will become 4. So the denominator will become 4. So that is why it becomes 1/4. It is decreasing, you know. Decreases how much? It becomes 1/4 its original value. You have to mention 1/4. If this word 1/4 is not there, you will get 0. You won't get any marks for writing it decreases. You have to be specific when the question is specific, when they have asked doubled. Same way, if it is halved, if the radius is halved, then the force increases and it will become 4 times. Why? Because half the whole square will become 1/4 and that 4 will go on the numerator. So therefore it will become 4 times the original value. And the second answer, so if you don't write 4 times, if you just write increases, you won't get any marks for that. For that 1 mark question, you will get 0. And whether it is attractive or repulsive, the force of gravitation, capital F, is always an attractive force, it is not a repulsive force. The gravitational force is always attractive in nature. Now next we will see a small part of gravitation. A force due to gravity. The definition of what is the force due to gravity. The force with which the earth attracts a body is called the force due to gravity, and it acts towards the center of the earth. The force with which the earth attracts a body is called the force due to gravity, and that force acts towards the center of the earth. Now next you can have a question based on it, like what will be the force with which the earth attracts a body of mass 1 kg towards it? You're only expected to write the final answer, though I am showing you how you got that final answer. It is from Newton's law of gravitation. Small mass, the mass of the object is given in the question itself, it is 1 kg. Mass of the earth 5.96 into 10 raised to 24 kg. Radius of the earth 6.37 into 10 raised to 6 meter. And value of acceleration due to gravity, this you have to know. 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter squared upon kg squared. Now these values you need not learn. They have never asked these values of mass of earth and radius of earth. The question is only what is the force with which an object of mass 1 kg will be attracted towards the earth. So now you are using Newton's law of gravitation. So when you substitute g's value, mass of the object 1 kg, mass of the earth, that value, and when you substitute radius of the earth and square it, on doing the calculation, the answer comes to 9.8 Newton. So you don't have to remember these values and substitute. You have to remember the force with which the earth attracts a body of mass 1 kg towards it is 9.8 Newton. Common mistake made is you write 9.8 meter per second squared. That is acceleration due to gravity. So when you're telling acceleration, it has unit meter per second squared. When you tell force, it has unit Newton. So you have to use the correct unit. Force with which the earth attracts a body is 9.8 Newton if that body's mass is 1 kg. So if it is 2 kg, how much is it? 2 times that. So it will be 19.6. 10 kg, 10 times that, 98 Newton. So basically that force is also called weight. So if your weight is 50 kg, then that is not 50 kg is not your weight actually, that is English language. You say 50 kg is your weight. When you say 50 kg, that's your mass. Weight is m into value of acceleration due to gravity. So it is 9.8 into 50. So it is 490 Newton. So that's how you find weight. So here you will write, hence the force earth attracts a body of mass 1 kg towards it with a force of 9.8 Newton towards its center. So what are you going to be asked? The question will be this, and they may ask you, which law did you use to find this? So you don't have to remember values of mass and radius, but you will have to remember force with which the earth attracts an object of 1 kg is 9.8 Newton. And which law? It is from Newton's law of gravitation. So from that law. Now one thing you should note is that Newton's third law says that if the earth is attracting a force on you, then you are also going to attract an equal and opposite force on the earth. But what is the difference? The difference is your mass is insignificant as compared to the mass of the earth. So you will be moving because of the earth's force, whereas the earth is having a huge mass. So your force on the earth is not causing the earth to move. So that's the only difference, that's what is mentioned. The object also exerts an equal and opposite force on the earth, but the earth doesn't move due to its huge mass. Whereas the object moves towards the earth as its mass and hence inertia is less or very insignificant. So this again last time I had told when I told you Newton's third law of motion. If a question is asked that a truck and a cycle have a head-on collision, compare the force exerted by the truck on the cycle and the cycle on the truck. The answer is 1:1. Compare means you have to write ratio. The forces are equal. You may think, how come that person on the cycle or the cycle was destroyed, but the truck nothing happened. I am not asking what happened. Forces are equal Because the truck has got a huge mass, it is not going to move. Whereas the cycle had a small mass, so it got thrown away. But the forces were equal. Force exerted by cycle on the truck and truck on the cycle is equal. It's only opposite in magnitude, opposite in direction. Equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. So today we will end here, and next time we will continue and see further. Little more theory is left, and then the sums based on this Newton's law of gravity, what is remaining. See, now since the summer vacation in school is starting actually officially, and since we were also supposed to have the vacation batches all starting for 10th standard from 1st May, that is tomorrow. So now the frequency of the lectures that will be sent to you will decrease. So now we don't want to not send anything to you because you can't go down and play, neither can you have any cricket or football match going on TV, so nothing much to do. So we will send you videos once a week after this, only once a week, and in that videos we will do more of maths because the maths portion is huge. Of course, little bit of physics and little bit of bio will happen, but not the twice a week which was happening because we have to do more with the 10th standard batch. The May vacation is the time when we take maximum use of the time and do the 10th standard batch portion because they have their prelims in November. So they will be having full portion exams in November. So the 10th standard portion has to be finished by the start of Diwali. So before that we have to finish. So we will be doing more videos there, and since your portion has to be completed by end of December, Jan, so we will reduce the frequency of the videos for standard 9. Mike, but you use your time, and we have finished 4-5 chapters of bio, couple of chapters of physics, 3 chapters of maths, and of course we will be doing more of maths. So all that, whatever is being done, do that thoroughly and be perfect with all those chapters before your school possibly reopens in June. Have a nice time. Bye.